Dear members of the board, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing me to present our risk report and provide you assurance that the enterprise risk management process is working as intended. In the interest of time, I would like to take the report as read, and I would like to ask that questions be saved for after I've gone through the entire presentation. I will therefore proceed to go through the topics as highlighted in the executive summary. To start off with, there were 6 incidents which we noted for escalation for attention of the board. I will start with the first incident, which occurred at the beginning of the year, where we unfortunately had a food poisoning incident at an old age home. A strategic decision had been taken to resell unsold frozen goods and packaged goods. These goods were previously donated to orphanages, but in the interest of the business, an opportunity arose where there was a chance to make some profits from these. Unfortunately, due to poor storage conditions and the weakened immune systems of older people, some of the residents were poisoned. The impact was not widespread, however, the incident did end up on social media and it did spread. We, as the risk department, noted a potential for some reputational damage due to the fact that we were initially donating these foods and then we ended up selling the foods to old age homes to people who are considered vulnerable in the community, and then the people ended up getting poisoned. However, we managed to mitigate the risks or the potential risks of this incident by recommending to management that we reinstate the donations to the orphanages and as well as take full responsibility for the poisoning. It is our view that in doing this, we may recover some of the reputation. However, as with social media and with reputation, only time will tell how much damage was done. However, we are comfortable that the controls put in place would limit the damage of this particular incident. The second incident, which was highlighted for escalation to the board, was the internal audit findings, where they discovered some lapses in our controls. Firstly, regarding to the purchasing system, wherein payments to non-registered vendors were highlighted. Additionally, employees who had resigned had still been receiving payment, and as well as employees currently working had been being paid at a rate higher than the normal salary. Of course, this was a concern. However, as ERM, we recommended that in terms of vendors, the person placing the order, the person loading the order for payment, as well as the final approver, should not be the same person. We also recommended that a list of approved vendors be kept, and it can only be edited in a similar process, where the person recommending the vendor is not the person inputting the vendor, and that person inputting the vendor is also different to the person approving the vendor for addition onto the list. In regards with the salary payments, we recommended that a formal resignation process be instituted, wherein the employee leaving should complete a checklist, wherein only after that checklist is handed in and they're successfully removed from payroll would they be then able to receive their final check, pension, and any outstanding leave days. We feel these controls are sufficient to mitigate this risk. Lastly, with regards to the internal audit findings, they noted that there was no formal process for cash received by cashiers. On this, we recommended that cashiers sign in and out of shifts, CCTV cameras be installed with a security guard, random cash ups be done so that a cashier is not able to take out money and replace it because they know when we'll be doing the cash up checks. In that way, we feel we're mitigating the control of lost revenue due to theft by cashiers, as we'll be able to match the receipts with the cash in the tills and to the particular employee who was on shift. Any variances are then the responsibility of the cashier to explain why there is differences. And the third issue of note was a pricing decision at one of our stores, which resulted in a loss of revenue, where one of the managers had taken the initiative to install an end-to-end financial processing system, wherein data was loaded and the data was used to make pricing decisions. At some point, either due to manipulation or system error, the data was corrupted, resulting in incorrect pricing decisions, which resulted in losses for that particular store. On this, we recommended that stores only use approved software which ties in correctly with our current IT systems. We also recommended that a backup be kept of each day's data. In that way, the manager would have been able to see the variance in the prices and not solely relied only on the data, and they could have picked up the significant changes. We feel this control is adequate going forward. In addition to that, we also recommended that only senior management has access to change the information on the financial system. This way, it ensures that the people making the pricing decisions are the only ones aware and able to change the information. This then places the burden of ensuring that the system is correct on themselves, as any errors in that would be reflected in their performance, and that would be solely on them. The fourth item noted for escalation to this meeting was the possible implementation of an online store. As we've noted, with global trends and consumer trends, most people prefer to shop online now. So we believe it's imperative for Fred's as well, particularly because we have so many brick and mortar locations, to start moving towards online stores, as that may be the only way to compete going forward. There's increased competition and there are cheaper alternatives, so we thought leveraging Fred's reputation as the people's store into an online platform would be the best decision going forward. There was some risks associated with this because of the personal data used and the advent of hackers who would like to gain access to this information. This information is valuable and we need to take great care in ensuring that our system for online store has all the latest, regardless of pricing, security technology to ensure that data is not hacked, as this could result in loss of reputation, and this could then be associated to our brick and mortar locations, which could result in a loss of revenue due to loss of trust. So our recommendation was that we should implement the online store, but ensure that we do not spare any costs in ensuring that the site is user friendly, as there would also be no purpose in implementing a solution which no one wants to use. Additionally, managers should review all purchases on a daily or hourly basis, whichever they would feel more comfortable with, to ensure that purchases match payments. As with online stores, there's also a possibility of rerouting payments. We feel that if we spend the adequate amounts of funds, we would be able to mitigate the risks of hackers accessing the system. The fifth item noted for escalation to this meeting was the opening of a new location in neighboring Namibia. We hired an expert to do a feasibility study for us on 2 locations. The expert estimated cash flows expected from these 2 locations, and using various risk management tools, we calculated the expected returns as well as the possible deviations from these expected returns on both sides. We ended up going with location number 1 as it would provide the highest expected return when including the possible deviations. As with forecasts, it's difficult to predict the future. Therefore, in terms of mitigating risks, we believe that to the best of our knowledge and using the latest available risk management assessment tools, we made a wise decision to first of all proceed with the project and then to choose site location number 1. Of course, there is no certainty that the predictions will come to fruition as we have forecasted, but we feel that site number 1 was the best choice based on our risk management analysis. And then finally, the 6th item noted for escalation to this board was the FredGen project. On this, we noted that there's high initial starting capital costs required, and we thought this might be the largest risk in terms of if the project fails, as this would be a huge outlay, financial outlay. We also noted that there might be possible reputational damage should we produce subpar projects which could impact our retail sales. However, through our risk management analysis, we noted that this product or project rather, would give us a net present value of over 1 million rand. Of course, this does not take into account qualitative factors such as political stability and service levels, or level of service rather, let me say. By that, I mean things such as strikes, which may delay the project and end up providing a negative net present value. On that basis, we did the utmost due diligence, and with the difficulty of determining qualitative factors, we recommended the project proceed. These 6 items were the largest items noted in the current year, which may have caused concern for the group and the board. But in our assessment, as you may see on the risk matrix used and the controls put in place, we concluded that there was a low risk of these incidents causing significant damage to either the brand or financial loss. We therefore conclude that for the year under review, the risk remains low, but we will continue to emphasize to the group and to all employees that risk management does not only lie with the ERM function, but on a daily basis with each employee. We have a zero tolerance for risk, and we are aware that one is not able to completely eliminate risk. However, we do our best to ensure that risk remains at a low level, and we will continue to monitor all aspects of the business and continue to provide feedback to this board on any instance noted and the potential impact on our business. We take great pride in the work we do, and we hope the board will be able to see the value add in continued risk management investment. I thank you, and I will take your questions now.